Okay, everybody. So I just have been changing out a leaky faucet at my in my shower, and this is the stem that I replaced. I also replaced the seat that goes up against here. So basically, what you see when you look at in your shower, you see just a handle, maybe, and then a back plate right here. Now this handle has corroded so badly that no matter what I do, it's not gonna come off of there. It's stuck on there really bad. So, but the main thing I wanted to show you guys right now is that after I replaced it, you know, the general idea of replacing these is that you first shut off your water, whether that's in, you know, your garage. I don't know, your some people it's their attic, and some people it might be in their basement. But in my case, it was actually had to be shut off at the curve. So I called up my utility company. They came by. They shut it off for me. They kind of worked the valve to make sure that it could be easily shut off or you know, put back on, turn back on. So to the open or closed position. So I got this T handle over in Home Depot and I think it's a really good idea to just have your local water company come by and turn or work the valve on and off for you, because the cheap like T handles that you can get from places like Lowe's and Home Depot, I've read online and I believe it after trying to do it, that they break or they snap the first time you try to shut on and off the valve at the street. Anyway, so moving on, you shut off the water, however you do that, either at the street or in your basement, right? Then you open up the uh, the flow of water at the faucet to make sure that you relieve any pressure in the system. And then you proceed to take off the stem. Well, first you undo the little plastic face at the front, the screwdriver. You undo a little Phillips head screw that is in here. Then you would typically pull off the handle, and like as I said, this thing would not come off no matter what I tried. There are things that they sell that are like pullers, and I would, you know, if you haven't tried to take your handle off yet, I would assume that it's not going to come off, especially if it's an older one like this. And perhaps before you start the job, you know, make sure you have all the tools ready, and also have maybe get a puller, because from what I understand, it's pretty common on older handles that they get completely stuck in position. Now let me see. Yeah. Anyways, so here's the deal. You get a special wrench set from Home Depot, and you pull off this stem if the handle came off. Now the thing is that in my case, the handle wouldn't come off, so I got a pipe wrench and I unscrewed the handle, and as I unscrewed the handle, the whole stem unscrewed at this point. Okay, and that worked okay. It worked out all right with me because, one, I replaced the stem, and then the second thing is that my wife hated these handles anyways, as do I. They're sharp here, they're cheap, they look like crap. So we replaced all the handles as well. Now the main reason why I'm doing this video is because once I changed out the stem, there's also the seat at the back, which was the actual culprit. You know, when you take out the stem, a lot of people, I think, replace this part of the stem, and then they don't realize that there's another part to this whole system, and that's what they call the seat. And it's a very small piece, but when you buy your kit, usually it comes in the kit for the stem, and you need a special tool for that piece. If you go to Home Depot, they'll show you what it is, and you know, I've got some extra footage I'm gonna attach to the back of this video, but at me like trial and error trying to do this, because I'm not a plumber. It's the first time I did actually any serious plumbing work, and that was the culprit, was the seat at the end of this. The O-ring, this seal, it's not really an O-ring, just there's a seal at the end of this. Wasn't really that bad, but the seat had to come off. You need a special tool. Make sure you use the special tool carefully. Don't break anything, because it's deep in there, and if you like thread that seat, you're talking about major issues. So replace the seat, then put in the valve. Now here's what my unexpected problem was. When I put it back in, the kit that the stem came in from Home Depot, this nut was off, and there's a seal inside of there, and I believe this is called the packing nut, this one far to the far right. Okay, now me, I guess being inexperienced, I thought, alright, you know, it's got to be watertight, so I'm going to tighten this as much as I can. That's wrong, as I now know. You know, the main seal is here and here. This should be nice and snug. You shouldn't over tighten it, because you risk damaging the piping. And this is really the most important water seal here. This and this should be snug, but not over tightened. Now, here's the thing: is I put the whole thing back together, and then, you know, I'm working on it, and I'm like, okay, great, you know, let's stop the leak. And then unexpectedly later on, my wife comes by and she's like, what, you know, she couldn't even open up the valve, right? Because you need a lot of strength to open up the valve. And so I want to try to show you guys this. Let me try to see if I can find a comfortable angle to do this. So, yeah. So this is what happens when you turn on and off your water. You've got, let me go from the other angle. So I'm holding this, and this is coming back and forth. It comes up against the plate and backs away from the plate. So anyways, the moral of my story is that this nut right here is what the problem was, in terms of having a handle that was too tight. Okay, so you have to, it's really trial and error in terms of how tight it should be. It should be snug, but not too tight. And if you after putting it together, you know, turning on the water, make sure there's no leak, and you start, you know, test the handle, see how hard it is to turn. And if it's too difficult to turn, this is the nut that you want to loosen slightly. Okay, that's really all. Other than that, you know, some people are saying using heat to get the handle off. I believe that. The only problem with that is you might damage one of the cheaper handles, obviously, and you'll end up replacing it anyways. Another problem is that, you know, in my case, I tried to use some kind of, I used like PB Blaster to try to get this thing apart, and then obviously if you add heat to that, or flame to that, you're talking about a really dangerous situation, flammable situation, so you don't want to do that, obviously. But really, that's pretty much it, is that when you're setting this up, you want it to be snug, and you don't want any leaks, but you don't want to over tighten these nuts. These you might damage the piping, and this nut you'll end up having a handle that's way too tight. And also, if you really over tighten this in turn will tighten this cylinder here, which in turn tightens this thread, and you might again end up damaging some piping. And that's basically it. You know, be safe, be careful, and I hope this helps somebody. Okay, so long.